Hey, Turkey Day has finally arrived, and today I'm going to be making two different pies. I'm going to be making a pumpkin pie with my pumpkin that I've got canned. Um, I do make my own pie fillings and I can them. However, I did that. It was pre-YouTube channel, so when fall comes next year, I'll show you how that is done. So for pumpkin pie. And you can also buy pumpkin pie filling without spices. And if you do that, that's great. This is what, and it'll tell you what to put in there on the back of the can for recipes. But for my pumpkin pie and for the one that I canned, you're going to need evaporated milk, allspice, cinnamon, ground nutmeg, cloves, sugar, white sugar, one egg for browning the top of it, and two eggs that's going to go into the batter also. And now when it comes to these spices, these can be very overpowering, so you want to be careful with them. You don't want to overdo it, because you can make a delicious pumpkin pie turn into something that is very bitter and unedible. So what I did was I'm just going to take a teaspoon of each other than the cloves. The cloves, I only took a quarter teaspoon because that is very potent stuff. And you don't want it to overpower your whole pie. And you're going to need some flour to roll out your dough. I just made a very simple shortening dough. It's quite easy. Just look up or Google or YouTube, shortening bread or shortening pie dough. Very easy to make. And the tools that you're going to need are a wooden spoon, a whisk, a brush to flake off flour, let's see, can opener, and I'm going to decorate mine with a maple leaf and two turkeys. One turkey is a little bit bigger than the other, so that ought to work out pretty good. Now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to put this up on the tripod so you guys can watch me cook. But what I need to do first is I need to measure out 15 ounces of that pumpkin into my scale. So I'm going to get to work and I'm going to do that right now, and then we can get to mixing things together. The first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to measure out my 15 ounces of pumpkin. And I need a scale to do that. All right, I'm on kilograms. All right. Just going to give it a little stir here. This has been canned for a couple of months now, so. And 15 ounces is roughly 2 cups, but I like to make sure that what I'm doing is correct. I'm at 9, 11, getting closer, 13, 14 and a half, so that ought to do it. Okay, 14 and 7/8, close enough. All right, now I'm going to put that in the bowl first. That's no longer needed. And put that in there. Looks good, smells good. All right, and then we're going to start adding our ingredients to it. And you're going to want 1 can of evaporated milk. I believe this is a 12-ounce can. Yes, 12 ounce. A half a cup of sugar. And then the spices that I had mentioned before. Go easy on the cloves. That's all I can say. Just go easy on the cloves if you're going to use it. All right. And we're going to put 2 eggs in there. And then we're going to whisk this up until it's smooth. And if you have a hand mixer, go ahead and do that. I mean, I have one. I also have a stand mixer, but not everybody does. So I'm going to do it the old-fashioned way. And that's all right. You know, not everything has to be modern. Oh. Okay, we're just gonna keep mixing that until it comes out smooth. And you'll notice that the color is a little bit different than it would be if there was pumpkin out of a can. It's a little bit lighter because it's pumpkin. I don't want to say it's real pumpkin, but it's because the pumpkin in a can is real pumpkin. It's just different. This is a little bit lighter. There's nothing added to it to make it look better, because it'll look just beautiful when it's done anyway. Okay, that looks good. And I'm gonna go ahead and I'm just gonna let that rest over here for a little bit. And now it's gonna be time for me to roll my bottom pastry out to put it in here. Now I am using a number 6 pan today. It's smaller. It's not a 9 or a 10. It's a smaller pan because I'm gonna be making 2 pies. I don't need 2 giant pies for 5 people. So I'm just going to make 2 pies, but in smaller pans. And I will have some batter left over, so I may go ahead and make pumpkin bars or something with that for my kids to take home with them after Thanksgiving. But I just wanted to let you guys know that I'm going to be using 2 number 6s today, which is smaller than 9s and 10s. So, all right, now I'm going to go ahead and I'm just going to start rolling my dough out, my bottom crust. Good. I'll spare you guys the rolling out because it takes a while and I want it to take forever. Move my cutting board. Go ahead and throw a little bit of flour down. And start rolling it out. Okay, so I've got my dough rolled out and I'm just going to measure my pan here on it. That's plenty big enough. And then I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to give my pan a little spray. And then I'm going to roll this up onto my rolling pin. And then gently roll it into the pan. We're going to fit it in there like this, like so. Get it inside. Pull it until it's kind of even. Like that. And take a fork and poke the bottom. This stops it from bubbling up. Helps it breathe in the oven. Alright, now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to fold the edges down a little bit, like roll them and then pinch them together like this. And then when I'm done with this, I will roll out my other package of dough that I have. And I have a total of 3 because the apple needs the lattice on top. And then I wanted to cut out a couple of shapes to go on this one for Thanksgiving. So as soon as I'm done with this, I will start rolling out my other dough and get those cut out and add them to this. First, we will we're gonna wait on that. But this is one. This is my pumpkin. You know, it's not real fancy. It's not a fancy pinching job or anything. And I'm gonna go get my other dough and I will roll that one out and start cutting out my shapes. I've got my cutouts here, and I decided that the maple leaf was just too big for this smaller pie. So I'm just going to use the little bigger turkey with the littler turkeys around it. And I'm going to ladle my my batter into this because I don't want it to drip all over the place and make my pan dirty and whatnot. So just gonna slowly put it in there until it's full. Well, how about that? I may not have a lot of batter left over. I forget sometimes that cast iron pans are deeper than regular pie plates, because I don't work with regular pie plates very often. Not that I can't, I just, you know, I'm just so used to, look at that. Look at that. I have none left. Ah, and it's a perfect pie. It's a perfect little pie. Delicious. All right. Okay, so now that is taken care of, I'm going to start. I'm not going to put my turkey on until the pie is pretty much done in the middle here, because if I put it on now, it's just going to sink in, and that's not what we want. So I'm going to take a little bit of egg wash here, if I can find my, what did I do with that? Oh, there it is, right in front of me. All right, I'm going to take a little bit of egg wash here and just lightly dab a little bit on the back of it, just to have it just a little bit sticky so that it will stick to the side of the pie. It can be a little bit tedious, yes, I'll give you that, but it's Thanksgiving, you know, it's Thanksgiving, so I'm gonna put a little more effort into it, I guess, for Thanksgiving's sake. And then I'm just gonna go around the pie with all of my little turkeys, and then I'll show you what that looks like when I'm done. Now that I have my turkeys inside of my pie and things are ready to go, I want to take a second to let you guys know that a lot of when you're making a pumpkin pie, a traditional pumpkin pie, it calls for you to bake it on 425. However, and if you're going to be using a regular pie plate to do that, then do that. Then certainly follow the directions. But when it comes to cooking in CI, things get very hot and they stay hot for a long time. So I will be cooking this littler pie here on 350 for probably 35 minutes. I'll let you know. It just depends, you know, because cast iron is a deeper dish than a traditional pie plate, and this one is not as wide. It's deeper, so because it's a smaller pie, so it's going to be thicker. So we'll see how that 35 minute where we're sitting at 35 minutes. But into the oven we go. Gobble gobble gobble. Now we're moving on to the apple pie. And so this right here, I made this, but I used it making Mrs. Wage's fruit pie filling mix. I really like her stuff. It's very, very good. And because honestly, I had never canned fruit filling before, not like this. So, I mean, I had canned apples and things like that, but there was just, I didn't put anything in them. But this year I decided that I was going to do something a little bit different and do the pie filling instead of me making it all come together at the end. But I'm going to need, apple pie is different than pumpkin because not a lot goes into it. I mean, you just eyeball, you know, how big your pan is and stuff. But again, I'm going to use a number 6 cast iron pan. And as always, I will spare you I'll spare you to having to watch me roll out dough after dough after dough. But I've only got this one and another one to go, and then I should be good for, because I need 2 pie crusts, and then I'm going to need enough to make little cutouts to put on it. But first, I'm going to open this and get it into a bowl. I just want to stir it up a little bit see how things are looking, and you know. Oh, that looks really good. Oh, it smells really good too. Oh, wow. And, you know, you might want to take a little taste of it. You might want to maybe add a little bit of something to it. You never know. It could be what you want. A little bit more cinnamon or a little bit more nutmeg. You just never know. So, I mean, it tasted good when I canned it, but let's see what it tastes like now. Oh, still absolutely delicious. It's perfect just the way it is. All right, I'm gonna spare you the dread of rolling out dough. You're welcome. With the little bit of dough that I had left from my pumpkin pie, I'm going to, and you notice that I didn't crimp the edges on this either, because I'm making a lattice pie, so once I get the strips on, then I'll crimp it together. But, so I have a little bit of dough left from the pumpkin pie, so I'm just gonna go ahead, I'm gonna roll that out a little bit and possibly get a few cutouts from this. And for this one, I decided I'm gonna do maybe some maple leaves around the edge. And I'll need, I don't know how many, but I'll figure it out. I'm just gonna go ahead and cut these out, and once I get the lattice on and it's crimped down, then I'll go ahead and I'll put an egg wash on like I did with the pumpkin. And then I should be able to get a few more out of this. And I'll put these around the edges once the lattice is underneath it. Move these out of the way and see how many I can get out of this little guy before I have to roll out more. All right, I got my strips cut out and they are ready to go into this pie here. I'm going to put my apple filling in there first. I can't even tell you how good this is. Oh, the smell is just so good. It is so yummy. We're gonna get all that out of there. We want every bit of it. That's the good stuff. Now, you said that I was gonna make a lattice top, and I am. It does take a little while. It takes a little while to do that, so I will start doing it. And then I will probably stop the camera so that you guys, I might, I don't know. I'm thinking I might put a little bit more apple in there, but yeah, I think I'm gonna do that before I get too far ahead. I'm gonna go downstairs and I'm gonna get another jar of apple pie filling because I want more than that in there. Okay, so I finished up rolling out my other dough and cutting the strips out. I just use a regular pizza cutter to do that. It's not perfection. I don't think that homemade apple pie should be perfection, or any homemade food is absolute perfection where the lines are perfectly straight and the strips are absolutely perfect. And you know, that's not real life. Okay, real life is, oh, okay, I got a wonky one. It's okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start with my smallest strip first, and I'm going to start at the edge like this and then just kind of press it down. And then I'm going to take like the second longest one, which would probably be one like this. And I'm not going to press that one down because I need to be able to lift these up in order to achieve that lattice look. And if they're pinched down, then you're going to end up tearing dough to get underneath them. So it's easier just not to do that. And then now I'm just going to start going ahead and I'm going to put these on. Remember, when I'm silent, that means I'm concentrating. It's important to me to get things right. I didn't say perfect, I said right. As right as they can be. They can be as close or as far away as you want them. But if you want them too close, then you might as well just put a full crust on top. And my last little guy here, now this one I will, well, I don't know, he's kind of small, so maybe I'll just put a larger one here and then just cut it off. Okay, now we're going to start this way. And we're going to start like that, overlap like that. You know, it's a lot easier said than done. But it's Thanksgiving, so you know you got to put a little effort into it, right? I'm putting a little effort into it this time. Okay. We're over here. Now we're going to lift this up and go under, over, under, over, under. Okay, now there's that lattice look that we're looking for. If you can see it, but I'm trying to show you. And we're just going to continue doing that until the whole pie is done. I'm going to go and now we're going to go under. And over. And under, over, under, over, under, over, under. And then we're just going to slide it up there a little bit so that it gets a little bit closer. So this is what I'm going to do, and then I'll show you what it looks like when it's all finished. Okay, now that I have my lattice pie done, I have these scragglies on the around the edge. I haven't cut them yet, and I'm not going to, because now it's going to be time for me to add my decorations around the top. I decided to do maple leaves and acorns. So that's what I'm going to work on right now. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to fold this under. I don't know if you can see that or not. It's kind of hard, but it's not hard. It's hard for me to get you to see it. But I'm going to fold that under, and now I'm going to pinch it. I like that really nice, thick crust. It doesn't burn as easy. As you'll notice that I don't use guards, pie guards on mine. What a pie guard is it's like a piece of foil that you put around the top to stop the edges from burning. But I don't need to do that because I don't cook mine at such a high temperature that they will get burned. Fold and pinch. That's all I'm doing. Tucking under and pinching. And I am okay with any juice that bubbles up in between them. That just makes it even better. It just makes the pie even better. If I had to choose one style of cooking that I had to live with forever just to do, would probably be rustic, because it's my favorite. It's comfort food. It's warm. That's kind of my thing. Okay, so now that I've got that done, see, not perfect. It's not perfect, doesn't have to be. I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna use my egg wash again. And I'm gonna use that as a kind of a type of a glue to put on my decorations. Help it just kind of stick to the crust. Just like that. I'll do a few here. And then I'll cut to putting it into the oven. That's going to work out just fine, and I think it's going to be absolutely beautiful and adorable. I got my decorations on, and they look really nice. They're spaced out quite well. Now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take a couple of pats of butter. I'm going to put just maybe 2 or 3 on before we bake it. Good stuff. Good stuff. Oh, maybe just a little bit more. This is real butter, not margarine. And we're just gonna put them in there like that. And this is gonna go right next door to the pumpkin pie that I have going in the oven. So they will cook together. They'll be done at different times, but they'll cook together. And I'm going to put that on 350 also because of the same reason for the pumpkin pie. It cooks differently because it's in cast iron, and it gets a lot hotter and a lot faster. So it will be done in a shorter amount of time. It's so strong.